In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do legal citations in a paper. To start with, the first thing I do is go ahead and make my bibliography page, because at this point in writing your paper, you should have your bibliography together. And you'll notice it's in alphabetical order. I want you to notice also that all of the case names are in italics, and the convention can either be in italics or underlined. Pick one or the other. I prefer to put the case names in italics, as I'm about to do down here with United States v. Seacoast Gas. And you do the same thing in the paper, both on long and short cites. Now, a long cite is what you use in the bibliography and the first time you use that source in your paper. So the long cite looks like this. So for example, in this case, Brown v. Mitchell, volume 308, Federal Supplement 2D 682, we see it's a federal case in the Eastern District of Virginia, 2004. That's the long cite. That's how we would use that. I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, put it on my clipboard, and let's say that I'm typing along here and it's time to use a source. So the first time I use a source, I use the long citation. Now let's say that I need to do an attribution at this point. To do the footnote, I simply go to my insert menu, say footnote, and you'll see that as soon as I do, the little one comes at the bottom of the page, and I will simply paste my long form citation in here. Now, let's say that I'm about to use that same source again. And if I do, and it's immediately following, I'm using the same source back to back, then I can use this convention. I simply say id. Now, id is actually referring to a case. Cases are all in italics, therefore I'm going to put this id there too. Now what id means here is that I am referring to Brown v. Mitchell all over again on the very same page. But what if it was on a different page? What if it was the same source? And we can see from the long form citation that this case begins at 682. Let's say that I'm citing from page 683. I would simply say id at 683, meaning that page number. And the at 683 turned up in italics doesn't need to be, so I'll change that. Now, something about footnotes. As you're making them, your text of your paper should be 12 point Times New Roman. However, footnotes should be 10 point. And I can reduce it now or later, and also they should be single space. And sometimes this gets to be a problem. You have to mechanically go in and do that. I tend to edit my footnotes last. Once my paper is written, I go through and edit all the footnotes, because you may move sentences around, you may move whole paragraphs around, and when you do that, you'll see that the footnotes automatically update themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this footnote. Let's say that I decide to put that sentence before this sentence. Look, it became footnote 1, this became footnote 2. Okay? And when I come down here, they reverse themselves in the footnotes as well. So because of that, I have the id before the long citation, which is incorrect. So what I tend to do is go ahead in my draft and use long form citation throughout, then go back to edit. Let's assume that you've done that you've been working on your paper, you've used a long source citation everywhere. So then you go back and you look at your paper in its final form and decide, how do I need to edit my footnotes? And so you'll have a whole bunch of long citations. And you'll simply go through, and if they're back to back, you could just say id. All right. Now, or id at page number or whatever you're doing. Now,